have completed part A of unit 1, right, about the functions of a banker or relationship between a banker and a customer. Moving on to part B, that is customer and various types of customer and account holders in a bank. Now, who's a customer? Customer is a person who has a account with a respective bank. What are the various types of account that we see in a bank? Normally is savings account, current account, fixed deposit, recurring deposit, demat account and no frills account. Now all of you know savings account is normally opened by all the salaried people. That means if I am working for the college and I'm going to receive a salary, then an account of savings account has to be opened in my name. Okay, so every person who receives a salary, right, should be opening which account? Savings account. Okay, even a minor also can open a savings account with a guardian in his name. Next comes current account. Now current account, we all know it's opened by the only traders or business institutions. Okay, because there's no particular limit of how much you can deposit, how much you can withdraw, right? There's no hard and fast rules for current account because it is meant for business, and businesses will have numerous transactions every single day. And one of the major benefit for a current account is overdraft facility. That is, even when the current account balance is nil, or let's say the current account balance is only 500 rupees, but then you can withdraw 10,000 rupees from the same account, which is called as overdraft facility. That means you can withdraw the amount over and above your bank balance. I repeat, overdraft is withdrawing the amount of money which is over and above your bank balance. If your balance is rupees 500, you can even withdraw 1000 rupees. Okay, it can only happen in current account. Number 3, fixed deposit. Now, fixed, as the name itself says, fixed, that means it is a sum of money that is fixed for a time period. Okay, so I open an FD account and I deposit 1 lakh rupees for the next 5 years. Okay, that is called as fixed deposit account, which is my 1 lakh amount is locked in for the next 5 years. Okay, for the next 5 years, one time investment, and the account matures after 5 years. Remember, fixed deposit is only one time investment. When I am opening the account alone, I am investing. Okay, when will I redeem that account? After 5 years. Number 4 is a recurring deposit. That is the opposite of fixed deposit. Recurring deposit is periodical investment. I just told fixed deposit is what? One time lump sum investment. Okay, a huge amount. Whereas recurring deposit is smaller portion of money that you're investing periodically. Got my point? Periodically. Now, if my salary is rupees 10,000 that I receive from college, and I decide to open a recurring deposit account, okay, so I'm going to connect my RD account with my savings, because where will my salary get credited? In savings account. So I instruct my banker, when I open a recurring deposit account, kindly deduct 1000 rupees every month from my salary. Okay, deduct it and add it where? Add it to recurring deposit account. Got it? So every month, okay, starting from January 2020, every month 1000 rupees from savings account will be moving to the recurring deposit account. Is that clear? That is one of the duties that bank has to perform on behalf of the customer. Got it? So 1000 rupees every month. Let's say I'm doing the recurring deposit amount for 2 years time period. So for all the 24 months, that is 2 years, 1000 rupees will be deposited in recurring deposit. And of course, I will be receiving interest for the same. Fifth one is Demat account, where an account is open only if you are interested in purchase and sale of securities of companies or companies that are listed on the stock exchange. If you are interested in stock market, right, or trading on stock market, then you can open a Demat account. That means whenever you purchase a security or whenever you sell a security, the amount will be credited or debited in the Demat account. The last one is no frills account. Now it is an account with a zero minimum balance to be maintained, where your initial deposit amount is rupees 50. Now who can open this account? Any individual above 18 years. Okay. Now why government has instituted this even without no balance is that youngsters or young people like you would learn the habit of saving money. Okay, would learn the habit of saving money, because you never know when an emergency might come. So it's always better to have some amount, even though you're not still earning, or you might be doing a part-time job, right? Or you might be earning a good amount of pocket money. Learn to save it, right? So this is one such step as called as no frills account. All the other facilities will be there, like checkbook, passbook, or debit card facilities will be there, and there's no minimum balance that you need to maintain. Okay, in case if you because in case you're not able to maintain, the bank is not going to close your account. Okay, so these are the types of accounts in the bank. Let's look at the customers account now. Who are the types of customers for a bank? There is a minor account, joint account, partnership account, joint stock account, clubs, and non-resident account. Now these are the various types of customers. Until now we studied what are the accounts the bank offers. Okay. Now what kind of customers does the bank get? Number one is the minor. Now what is a minor account? Minor account or minor is a person who is under the age of 18 years. Now, what are the basic precautions the banker has to take in this case? The account must be opened with a guardian. Now, it can be a natural guardian, that is the parents can open on behalf of children, okay, or it can be any other guardian. If not natural parent, the relatives or any other who's taking care of those children, they can act as a guardian. After attaining majority, the account can be converted to normal savings account. As I told, once the child reaches above 18 years or attains 18 years, then the account can be converted into normal savings account. Number two, joint account. A joint account will be in the name of more than one person. The application form will have a clause stating to whom the balance is payable on the event of death of the account holder. Now, joint account, as the name itself says joint, that means there is more than one person holding the account. Can you see the picture? There are two people owning the same account or jointly owning the account, which is called as joint account. Now, whenever you open a joint account, usually it's a husband and wife or anybody. It can be of any relation. If you're opening a joint account, you need to instruct the bank who is going to operate the account. Okay, you can give the instruction if owner A, only if owner A sanctions the check, or only he has the right to operate the account. Owner B is just silent over there. Okay, so anytime the bank receives check in the name of the joint account, and the check has to consist whose signature? Owner A. Okay, So these instructions, who is going to operate the account? Now it's not just two people, it can be 3, 4, 5 people also in a joint account. So that way bank will be, it will confuse the bank if you're not instructing the bank who is going to operate. Of course, if there are 5 people in the joint account, all 5 people cannot operate. Okay, or if you're willing to operate, you need to inform priorly to the bank manager. Is that clear? Or on the event of death, the entire joint account money or the balance, to whom it is payable or in which ratio is it payable. All these questions must be, or all these instructions must be given by the joint account holders to the bank. So as I just mentioned, what is the nature of joint account? Manner of operation. So who is going to operate it? Whether it is owner A, B or owner C. By all the depositors jointly or by either or the survivor. That means either all the people collectively in the joint account are going to operate it, or only one person will act on behalf of the entire joint account holders. If there are 5 people in the joint account, Mr. A will take up the responsibility of managing the joint account. Okay, so the rest 4 people are silent. Only one person will act on behalf of all the people. Okay, next, any joint account holder can stop the payment of check in case. That means if Mr. A is having the sole authority in operating the joint account, and if he is sanctioning a check which without the consultation of B, C and D, because when the account is held by 5 people, that means the money in the account also belongs to 5 different people. Yes or no? So one person, when he is making a decision about issuing a check, he has to consult or take permission from the other members in the account. If he has not taken the permission, okay, or if he is not informing them about the check and he is sanctioning the check, if the other members come to the knowledge he is doing a transaction without our knowledge, they can inform the bank and stop that transaction. Okay, so what do you mean by this example? That all the account holders must be aware of their deposits in joint account or the transactions in joint account. So it must be signed by all the depositors in the application form. If there are 5 people holding the account, all the 5 people's signature must be there. Okay, and banker must get a clear instruction regarding handling of the account. Who is going to handle? All 5 of them or only one of them? Okay. Next we have partnership account. Now we know a partnership is a relation between persons who have agreed to share profits of a business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. Now, we all know what a partnership firm is. Yes or no? We all have studied in our PUCs, yes or no? An entire chapter of admission, death or retirement of a partner, etc. That means a partnership account can be opened by the partnership firm, right? And what are the precautions taken by the banker? How many partners are there in the firm? The banker has to have a clear instruction. How many number of partners are there? Their identity, that means their name, their address, their signatures, right? All have to be submitted in the application form. And the partnership deed. Now we all know what is a partnership deed, right? It is an agreement on which the partnership firm sustains. And then the banker has to be also cautious about if there is a new partner admitted in the firm, what are the changes to be made in the partnership account? If there is a retirement of a partner, what are the changes to be made in the account? Or when there is a death of a partner, how are you going to manage the deposits of the partnership firm? Is that clear? On all these 3 occasions, the banker has to take precautions with terms of partnership account. Next, we have joint stock company. It is defined as artificial person recognized by law with a common seal comprising of shares of fixed value having limited liability and carrying perpetual existence. This is simply the meaning of a joint stock company. What is a joint stock company? It is an artificial person. It is separate from its owners. Whereas for partnership firm, the owners and the firm are one and the same. Yes or no? But for a joint stock company, no. Company has a separate legal entity. Okay, apart from its owners who run it. It has a common seal. It has a perpetual existence. The company runs by a fixed capital, right? And the owners have a limited liability. Who are the owners? The equity shareholders have limited liability. What are the precautions taken by the banker in this case? Number one is the registration certificate or incorporation certificate, memorandum of association or articles of association. All these documents have to be verified by the banker, because otherwise how will the bank know whether this institution is a genuine institution or it's a fake one, right? So I need to examine or verify the documents, the prospectus, the subscription of shares, etc. Okay, and about the core management, who's running the business, right? If there are 10 people in the board of directors, all the 10 people's name, identity, signature has to be instructed or given to the banker. Okay, so banker also need to be informed about who has the authority to operate account. As I told, if there are 10 people in the board of directors, who will operate this joint stock account, or who is going to sanction the checks or receive the checks? Okay, is it all the 10 people or is just one person acting for the company? Then we have clubs. Club or a society is an institution where people share a common interest and create a formal structure through which they can pursue it. Now, have you heard about a lot of clubs, right? There's Lions Club, there's Rotary Club, there's Road Tract Club. Have you heard about all that, right? Um, Here we are talking about such clubs or societies, right? Where people are gathered voluntarily or willingly, they gather of a common interest, maybe a social service or for the purpose of education or for the purpose of meeting orphanage needs. They have a common interest and therefore they create a formal structure through which they can pursue it. So collectively they come and pursue that interest. That interest can be social activities or any kind of social services, etc. So in such case, what banker has to take precaution? First of all, the club must be incorporated, because in case if the club is not incorporated, later if there's an issue, bank will be liable. Therefore, now we all know clubs and these societies receive donations or receive contributions from various people, countries, or even institutions. So there's a lot of money coming to clubs and societies. Okay, only a registered club can open this account. Is that clear? Clubs or societies have to be first and foremost incorporated or registered. That means it has to be government recognized. If the person appointed to operate resigns or dies. So in a club, as I told, there are going to be a lot of members. It can be 50, 100 or even 500 people. Now all 500 people cannot operate the account. There has to be one person called as a financer or a treasurer, etc. Now, if this person is taken up the responsibility in operating the club account or take care of the finances of the club or society, and this person resigns or this person dies, okay, then This club operations must stop until when? Until the club or the society nominates another person. Clear? Until the club is nominating another person, any kind of transaction have to be immediately stopped by the banker. Now, banker also have to take proper precaution and care that authorized person's signatures does not endorse bank checks into his own account. If Mr. A is authorized to run the club money, and if that Mr. A is using the club money to transfer it to his own personal account, bank has to be careful of such transaction, that Mr. A is not transferring the club money into his own personal advantage. The last one we have is non-resident account. This account is opened by a non-resident Indian. So non-resident accounts is where we commonly call as non-resident of India, right? Or Indian non-resident. Okay, he's an Indian person, but he is not residing in India. Okay. Now here we have two types under such category. First one is non-existent external account. It allows you to transfer your foreign earnings easily to India. That means you are an Indian working abroad and you want to transfer your money to your family who is living in India. Then you can open non-resident external account. That means NRE account, it is commonly called. So whatever interest you're earning on the amount you're transferring in NRE account, that amount is not taxable, or the interest that you earn on this deposit is non-taxable. Next is non-resident ordinary. That is, an NRO account is a savings or a current account held in India for NRI to manage their income earned in India. That means if the same person, an Indian who is residing abroad, is earning some rent from India, okay, a building in India, he is earning rent, or let's say he is earning a retirement pension or dividend from any shares of a company. So this is the money that he is earning from India. Okay. So such money can be sent abroad through which account? NRO account. What does it stand for? Non-resident ordinary account. So any interest that you earn over here or in this account is taxable. Okay. Remember here it is foreign money coming into India, it is non-taxable. But if your source of income is in India, that is pension, rent, dividend, then the government will tax the interest that you earn on this income. Okay, so with this, we complete the part B of the chapter, part A as well as part B. Who are the various customers and what are the various accounts opened by the bank. So with this, we complete chapter 1 under banking operations and innovations.